Picture this. It's Christmas morning, 1989. For many of us, that means the smell of pine trees, the sound of wrapping paper being torn open, and time spent with loved ones. But in Romania, Christmas Day 1989 was a day of revolution, blood, and a final, brutal reckoning. While you might have been unwrapping gifts, a dictator and his wife were facing a firing squad. This is the story of how Romania's communist regime ended on the most festive day of the year. For 24 long years, Nicolae Ceaușescu had ruled Romania with an absolute iron fist. He was the conjugator, the leader, a man who built a cult of personality so grand it bordered on the absurd. He and his wife Elena lived a life of unimaginable luxury. They had golden bathrooms, lavish palaces, and wardrobes filled with expensive furs and jewels. Ceausescu saw himself as a chosen one, a genius destined to lead Romania to glory. But outside the palace walls, his people were starving. Literally, to pay off the country's massive foreign debt, Ceausescu implemented a brutal austerity program in the 1980s. Food was severely rationed. Meat, butter, and bread became rare, luxuries while the Ceausescus feasted. Ordinary Romanians queued for hours in the bitter cold for scraps. Heat and electricity were cut for long periods to save energy, plunging homes into darkness and freezing temperatures. Life was a daily struggle for survival. The secret police, the infamous Security, were everywhere. They were one of the most brutal and pervasive secret police forces in the Eastern Bloc. They had a massive network of informants, meaning you couldn't trust your neighbors, your colleagues, or sometimes even your own family. Any hint of dissent, any whisper against the regime, could land you in prison, or worse. Fear was the air that everyone breathed. But by December 1989, the winds of change were blowing across Eastern Europe. The Berlin Wall had fallen. One by one, communist governments were collapsing, and the Romanian people, pushed to their absolute limit, had finally had enough. It all started with a small protest in the city of Timekeeper, which the Securitate tried to crush with lethal force. But instead of extinguishing the flame, the violence lit a fire. The revolution spread like wildfire to the capital, Bucharest. On December 21st, Ceausescu made a fatal miscalculation. He organized a massive rally to show the world that he was still in control. Standing on the balcony of the Central Committee building, he began his usual droning speech. But for the first time, the crowd didn't cheer. They booed, they cheered. The sound of a nation finding its voice, live on television. Confusion and then panic flickered across Ceausescu's face. He and Elena fled the scene by helicopter from the rooftop, a moment that symbolized the complete collapse of their power. They were captured a short time later. The revolution was chaotic, and fighting continued between the army, which had sided with the people, and loyal Security forces. The new provisional government decided they needed to end things quickly and decisively. They needed to show the world and any remaining loyalists that the Ceausescu era was over, for good. So, on Christmas Day, in a small, cold room at a military base in Targovic, Nicolae and Elena Ceaușescu were put on trial. It was less of a trial and more of a formality. The whole thing lasted less than an hour. The charges were read: genocide, corruption, destruction of the national economy. The Ceausescus were defiant. They refused to recognize the court. Nicolae called it a coup, while Elena hurled insults at their captors. The verdict was a foregone conclusion: guilty. The sentence: death. Immediately, there would be no appeal. They were dragged outside into a snowy courtyard. Elena, terrified, screamed at the soldiers, "I was a mother to you." One of the soldiers reportedly shot back, "What kind of mother were you? You killed our mothers." The execution was supposed to be orderly, carried out by a designated firing squad. But the soldiers, filled with years of pent-up rage, couldn't wait. Before the official order to fire was even given, 3 paratroopers opened up with their AK-47s, riddling the couple with bullets. The execution was filmed and broadcast on Romanian television shortly after. A gruesome proof of death to a nation that could hardly believe they were finally free. It was the definitive, violent end to 42 years of communism in Romania. But the legacy of that day is complicated. For many Romanians, it was justice. Swift, brutal justice for a tyrant who had bled their country dry. It was a necessary act to prevent a civil war and ensure the old regime could never return. But for others, it was a kangaroo court, a show trial and a summary execution that denied the couple the due process they had denied so many others. They argue that a proper public trial could have exposed the full extent of the regime's crimes and provided a more legitimate foundation for the new democratic Romania. So, it raises a profound and difficult question that people still debate today. Was executing them on Christmas Day a justifiable act of revolution, or was it a stain on the new beginning? Should they have been given the fair trial they never gave their victims? What do you think? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. It's a complex piece of history, and there are no easy answers. Thanks for watching, and if you found this interesting, please like and subscribe for more deep dives into history's most pivotal moments.